Today I am going to share you another concept in Java which is called array. First we will understand few basic theory of array, then we will go to Eclipse and understand how to create it. So first we have to understand what is array. So an array is a group of related data items that share a common name. Now you can see here I underline group and related data item. So it's a group of related data, and related data it's mean it can be integer, it can be float, it can be string, any type. Okay, but it's a group or it's a combination or it's a sets of data of same type. Now if we check this example, so we can define an array name, let's say salary, and we want to represent a set of salary of a group of employee in a company. Okay, so let's say I have a company and I have 5 employee and I want to create an array name as salary, which basically represent the set of salary of that 5 employees. And how it will be look like in a structure way, so it's something like this. So let's say first employee salary is 2000, then second 3000, then 9000, 5000 and 6000. Okay, now we can make a array name something like salary, and you can see here in each box the salary is represent and it is basically set of 5 employee, and each set is basically represent with some index or it is called subscript. So the first employee salary is 2000, which is basically available under the index of subscript 0. Then 3000, that is basically available under the index of subscript number 1. So this is basically subscript or index of the salary. Now how to fetch that one? Let's say I have the salary, I have created this one and I know that these are the index. So for first employee it's a 2000 and 3000, and each index it is available like this way. Now if I want to check the salary of the second employee, so what is my second employee? So this is basically my second employee and its salary is 3000. So how I can fetch? Using array. Okay, so its syntax something like this is basically that variable, array variable, right? So salary, then under third bracket second employee, that's mean index is 1, so under bracket we have to give the index 1. So this is basically give me this 3000 value. Now let's take another example. Let's say I want to check the salary of fourth employee. So what is my fourth employee? First, second, third, fourth. So this is my fourth employee, and what is his index? Index is 3. So I can write something like this type of syntax: salary, that is basically my array name, and under third bracket what is my fourth positions? This is my fourth positions, and where what is the index? Index is basically 3. So here I can put 3. So salary 1, this means it will go to this index and fetch this value. Salary 3, this means it will go to this index and fetch this value. So this way we can fetch the value from an array. Now you can see here this type of array, actually I am using a single index, means index value 1 or index value 3. So these are basically single index I am using here. And if we use single index in an array, so this type of array basically called a one dimensional array. Okay, so you can see here single index for salary, single index for salary, its index is 1, its index is 3, but I am taking only single index, so that's why it is called one dimensional. Now there is another concept that is basically called two-dimensional array, where you can see if my instead of salary, let's say my array name is number, and I have here you can see use two index or two subscript, 2 then 1. Okay, under this bracket I have used 2 and 1. So basically I am trying to take the two index for this number array. Okay, this type of array is called two-dimensional array. Now what is its structure? So if you check here, so this two-dimensional array represent like this way. So let's say my row 0 1 2 3 something like this going on row side, and there is a column, let's say column 0 and column 1. So this number 2 comma 1, this basically represent row number 2, and under this row number 2 column number 1. So number 2 comma 1, that's mean this is basically 600. The value will be fetched for this is basically 600 from this structure. So number 2, that is basically my row number is 2 and column number is 1. So this is my column number 1 and this represent this one. So if I make a two-dimensional array name is let's say number, and its value let's say like this way I have structured, then number 2 1, this will fetch this value, that is basically 600. Now to create an array we have to maintain three steps. First we have to declaring an array, then second step create the memory locations, and third putting the value into that memory locations. So to create an array we have to basically maintain three step, 1 2 3, and first one is declaring, second one is creating a memory locations, and finally putting the value. Now let's check that in Eclipse how we can create an array using this three step. Now you can see here I have already created a basic array example class under com.demo.array package, and if I double click here I have also maintained this three step under this main method. So first we understand how to declare an array. Now there is two options to declare an array. First options is basically we have to maintain the type means data type, then array name. So for our example its name is let's say salary, and then we have to create this type of bracket, third bracket start and then end. So if I try to make a integer type salary, then this will be look like this. So this is one way to declare an array. Now the second way is we can create the type, then we use this third bracket start and end, then we can make our array name. So it will be something look like int, then my third bracket start and end, then my array name let's say salary. So let me comment it this one, the first one. So this is my second options to declare an array. So you can choose any one. First one is basically int then salary then third bracket, and second one is first int then third bracket then salary, and these ints mean this can be any type, integer, floating or string based on your requirement. Now my first step is done, that is basically declaring an array. Now the second step is creating memory locations. So how we can give a size or creating a memory locations for an array. So the syntax is something like this. First you have to give the name of your array, that is basically for our case salary. Then we have to use the new keyword because we are actually creating an object. So array is an object, so we know that how we can create an instance, right? So that's why you have to create the new keyword. Then type means for our case it's an integer, then we have to give the size. So let's say for our case you can see here the size is 1 2 3 4 5. So I need basically 5 structure to put 5 employees salary, right? So we can make the size in our case as 5. So if I make a memory locations for my salary, so it will be look like this. My array name, that is basically salary, then new, then type is int, and under third bracket we can make the size, that is basically 5 for our case. So now you can see that my declarations is done and creating memory locations or creating the size of that array is done. Now the third step is putting value. So how we can put that value, that is basically 5 employees salary under this variable. So let's check that. So in this example you can see here in my index 0 the salary is 2000, then 1 3000, 2 9000, 3 5000, and 4 6000. We will do the same value in Eclipse. So my array name is salary, and in index 0 my value is equal to 2000. So I can make the value on index 0 like this way. Similar way my array name is salary, and if I want to put the value in 1th position, that is basically index 1, so we can make this like this, and then we can put the value let's say equal to 3000. So similar way we can put the value for other employee like this. So you can see in my index 0, that is basically salary of my first employee, that is 2000, then salary of my second employee, that is index 1, and I have put the value 3000. My third employee, that is basically under index 2, so this is 9000, then 5000, then 6000. So this way you can put the value in a salary. So my declarations is done. Then the second step I did basically creating a memory locations or giving a size, and final step is putting the value on that array, that is basically salary. Now let's say we want to fetch the salary of third employee, that is basically 9000, right? So how we can fetch that one? So we can simply create a system.out.println statement, and we need this one. So that's mean we can fetch salary of second index, okay, or second position. So that's mean if we make this one, so it will basically give me the value 9000. Let's run it. So you can see I am getting the third employee salary as 9,000. So this way you can fetch the salary of any positions or any employee by the use of salary and that index or subscript positions. Okay, now let me comment it and let's print all this employee salary in next line. So how we can do that? So we can use iterations, that is basically a for loop, and we can simply create a system.out.println. So you can see here my I basically initialize with 0, that is basically my 0th positions I need, and till 4th positions I need. That's why I make it like less than equal to, right? So now to print the salary, we know the syntax is something like this. So instead of these two, we can put it here like I. So what is this I means first time 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So that's mean it will basically use all this one and finally create a print statement for that value, and we will get all the salary in next line. So if I run it, so you can see all these things is coming in my console like this way. So this way you can print the salary, or if you want to fetch from a particular position, so you can use this type of syntax. Now in Java array there is another concept which is called basically overrun or underrun, and Java protect their array from this overrun and underrun with some exceptions. So what I mean to say, let's say I want to print the salary of a employee who is basically 7th one, but currently in our salary array we don't have that 7th employee, right? We have only 5th employee. So if I try to print the salary of 7th employee, that is basically 6th index, then I'm not getting any compilations error. But if I try to run this one, so it will try to fetch that value from this where I put this salary, because my size is basically 5 and I trying to find the 6 index positions, right, or 6 index salary. So this is not possible. So Java protect that type of overrun or underrun with some exceptions. So if I run here, so you can see that I am getting some exceptions, array index out of bound exceptions. So these exceptions means you are actually cross the boundary or the limit of the array size. So always you have to remember that you can only fetch the value if that's belong under that array size. Otherwise it will give or throw you an error. So if I recap, then we already understand what is basically array and how we can create an array. There are two type of array, one dimensional and two dimensional, and I am giving here a one dimensional array example. To make it, we have to maintain 3 steps. First we have to declare, and we have two options to declare. One is this type and second one is this type. The second step is we have to create a memory location, that is basically creating the size of that array, and finally we have to put the value on that array. And to fetch that one, so we can directly fetch by this way, and if you want the whole array in a printing statement, then you can run iterations. And finally Java's protect array from overrun and underrun. So if you cross the boundary, then you will get, or system will throw an error. So hope you understand the concept of array. Then from the next class we will try to create number of examples so that we can more clear on the array part.
I believe this video has helped you to understand about the topic. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, click on the bell notifications and select all so that you don't miss any video from this channel.